It's got markings on there that tells you where the water level should be and all that good stuff. And then I take my chestnuts. I gathered some of these. Most of these was yesterday, and gathered some of them this morning. So go ahead and pour your chestnuts in there. Pretty simple. And you're gonna have some little trash and stuff that floats. So what we want to do is put the water to it, and we'll just add the water up to the line. That right there is medium, and you can go almost to the top of that if you wanted to, but there's no sense in it. Lots of chestnuts. Hits the ground every day when they start falling. You just look around, and kind of unusual this year. Seems like the chestnuts the whole burrs are falling. Instead of opening up and falling out of the shells, or the burrs, seems like the whole burrs are just falling off the tree for some reason. You can take your foot, what I do, roll that over there, and where the split's on top, and then you can just flip them little dudes right out of there. Yes, sir. Lots of chestnuts. Like you look over them, and after you get done with all these, and take a rake, rake them up. Let me get my rake. I'll show you what I do. As like I say, once you get them, and you'll find out a lot of times that there's one jump from over there. Had 3 in that one. 3. I think it's pretty critical to keep these raked up, and it keeps this raked the chestnut up right there. And you will find chestnuts that you had overlooked, and by raking like this, and you get those chestnut burrs up, and you're not double checking them every time you come out. You'll find more chestnuts too that you've left behind by raking like this. It don't take just a few minutes if you do this every morning. Rake her up in the pile. You just take your time, look around, and you'll see them. I bumped my head on this right here for the last time. For the last time, I tell you. Let me, well, I won't do it right this second, but it wouldn't take me just a minute to. But that lamb's fixing to leave. It's a fixing to go bye-bye. See, I just take my foot and open them birds up. Now, the 2 birds right now. Whew. That's 6 chestnuts. These little ones that fall off, most of the time you'll just get one. Just get one chestnut. And I've got a pile over here that I rake this stuff in when I'm raking. And it's like I say, you look and you'll find plenty of chestnuts that you overlook. See, now that's a fair one. It's got 2 in it. Now that one would have had 2, but evidently they didn't get pollinated correctly. I'll just pull that up like that. Then after I get all this done, I'll burn them. They'll smolder for hours. The key to these chestnuts that I've found, from my experience, is the faster that you can get them up off the ground, better off you'll be. It kind of eliminates a lot of worms. What do you call them? Chestnut borers or whatever. Chestnut borers. I've often wondered how it would feel if a big one come down and hit him across the arm or something. Look, you'll see them. You overlook them. Overlook a lot of them too. Yes, sir. Just rake these boogers up. Put them in a pile. You don't have to pick that pile up every day. But when you're cleaning your rake like that, after you rake it up and you clean your rake tines out, make sure there ain't no big burr hanging in them, or you'll remember that day for a week or so. Because they'll stick you, buddy. They will. Let's come on the other side now. I went again. I tell you what, let me get these right over here. I know there'll be a few laying here somewhere. Yeah, there's one or two. Come off of there, baby. Either come off now or you get thrown in the burn pile. Because that's exactly where that lamb's headed. Hello, Tobe. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that right now, because I bumped my head on that limb for the last time. Let me shake these off. Ouch, that got me. Stuck one or two of them spiny devils in my hand. You knock that one off. I'll knock that one off too. This one has bumped my head for the last time. Yes, sir. For the last time. And that, my friend, is the end of that one. I'll go over here and throw it in the burn pile, or I don't know what kind of pile you call it. A catch-all pile. The wildlife habitat. Now, watch this. See, I can walk through here and not even bump my head. Ain't that amazing? Now I knocked a few of them off. Let's see if there's, and they're not, it's kind of before they should have been knocked off, but I'm sure that they'll be fine. See, right here. You don't have to wait till this time of year. You can go ahead and open them if you wanted to. I don't know why anybody'd want to. If you was in a big hurry. See, that one's a little not filled out good. And them little bitty ones. There's no need to even open them up, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, here's another one over here. Let's see what's in here. It ought to be a good one. Just one. There's an old earwig crawling out of that one. Let me get my rake now. And deal with that mess I made. I made another mess. Them birds up. You might get out here sleepwalking of a night or something, barefooted, and step on one of them birds. It'd bring you out of your slumber real quick, wouldn't it? Yes, sir. It would. Now these over here, I don't rake these too quick. Because there ain't usually many over here for some reason. But there will always be some over here. They will. I believe we've got some kind of critter that sneaks in here and gets a few of them of a night. That's another reason you want to get them up. There's one's got 3 in it. There's another one with 3. So, chestnuts and pawpaws. Get out of there, Toby. Get out of there. All these chestnuts is off this one tree. And bigger and they get smaller as they go that way back for some reason. This one's got a few on it, not many. And that fourth one down there's got several, but it seems like they come in later. But this is just one of the fall harvest that you can get. I'm sure there's more laying here, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short. You can see here what I got. That's about a quart, maybe a little more. A little more than a quart. And you see chestnuts, about a quart, I guess, a little more. But you can see the little burrs hanging up. There's a lot that's already fell off of this tree. And that big limb that was the great head bumper, it's gone. You can see that chestnut right there hanging out. It's hanging out that limb right there. I guess you can see it. Right there somewhere. Right in there. It's just hanging there. It's ready to fall out. That's what they done a few years ago. They'd open up, spit them chestnuts out, and the burrs would fall later, like that right up there. There's still several. After a while, there'll be that many more. But anyway, let me get my saw and put it back up. Here's another one, but it's a little early for this tree. And it's dumped a ton of its fruit this year. That's the persimmons. It's like I say, it's dumped. Lord, it was loaded. But it does that every year for some reason. I guess the tree knows how many to hang on. It hangs more up there in the top, seems like, where I can't reach them. But I mow around this real close. And then when they fall, I eat all I want. But anyway, we'll go in and get these processed. Again, I'll show you how I do it. Now, the other day I was out here and what I done was pick some chestnuts up. And I said that we was gonna process them. Well, one thing led to another and then I got sidetracked, but today we're gonna do that. I'm gonna try to show you how I treat my chestnuts for storage. And we'll start out with a kettle. I'll set it up here and maybe you can see it. I hope you can. Now what I'm gonna do is I've got an apparatus here. I think it's called sous vide or whatever it is. I don't like all them big fancy names. Sous vide, or whatever you call it. But anyway, this is a mount that goes on any container, kettle, whatever, you know. And just put that on there and tighten it down. Don't have to be too tight, just snug. And then we'll put this is the heating element and the controls and all that stuff. It just slides right down in there. It's also got a tensioner here. And you can slide it down in there like that. And it's got markings on there. You don't even have to tighten that up. You don't want to. It's got markings on there that tells you where the water level should be and all that good stuff. And then I take my chestnuts. I gathered some of these. Most of these was yesterday, and gathered some of them this morning. So this, go ahead and pour your chestnuts in there. Pretty simple. And you're gonna have some little trash and stuff that floats. So what we want to do is put the water to it, and we'll just add the water up to the line. That right there is medium, and you can go almost to the top of that if you wanted to, but there's no sense in it. Let's see if I can't get it to work here now. I hope it'll work with this plug. We'll plug her up, and it's actually come on. Give it time to get situated. I like to stir that around just a little bit, because if there's any debris and trash in there, it will start floating, and I don't see any. So it's ready. Now all I have to do is push the button, and it's started. So it sucks water in. It's got a propeller in there, and it circulates it. What it does is circulates the water, and we will let that go for, yeah, it's in the process of heating. So what I'm going to do, well, I was going to say if it's very cool, you can wrap a towel or something around this to hold it, but it's not that cold out. So what I'll do is go ahead and let this go. Now this is going to have to heat up to 120 degrees. I think I've got it set on 121 because there's just a half a degree fluctuation. 120 degrees, and the timer set for 20 minutes. And I'll go ahead and let that, watch me mess it up here. 120 degrees for 21 minutes. Let's go down with that. Yeah, 20. And then that'll be it. It's touchy. If you just touch it, one of them buttons, it's just touch screen. But anyway, it's circulating, and it's already in the process of heating. I'll tell you what I will do, just for the heck of it, I'll wrap this case just around it a little there. I don't even know if it'll stay. It may blow off. Just wrap that around it, help insulate it. But I'll let that go, and then we will, when that gets run through its cycle, then I'll kick you back on, and then I'll show you another step that we use. I mean, I won't show you putting it in the microwave and taking it out, but I'll show you how we cut them. Then I'll take it in the house and put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and then bring them back out. But we'll get to that when we get there. It's in its process now, so we'll let her roll. All right, it's got up to temperature, and run through its 20-minute cycle, 120 degrees, 20 minutes. Now I'll go ahead and lay these chestnuts out to dry here for a little while. We'll take this out, drain the water out, and shake that out a little bit. That's all you have to do. That's one of them sous vide cookers. they sure are handy, and I've not used it one time to cook food with. I've used it to on crystallized honey. Take a big cooler and put water in it, put this on the side of the cooler, put a 5-gallon bucket of honey in it that you've had that kind of crystallizes. It takes 2 or 3 days to do that, but you don't want to, you just run it at a specific temperature. I won't get into that. I think it's 110, so it takes a while to do. But anyway, that's all there are to it. Now, I'm just telling you, this is what I do. When I figured out that this worked like this, that's exactly what I've been doing ever since. And the first thing I'll do is pour this water off these chestnuts. That water's 120 degrees. Cooled off a little. But I just pour that water off of them. And just like I say, they're up to temperature. So what I'll do is take an old towel and I'll flop it under on all sides, and that creates a little moat in the center. And your chestnuts won't roll out. And just take them chestnuts, just pour them out right there. And spread them out. Just like that. And we'll let these sit out here, till they dry, hour or two. And then when I get done, I'll come out here and I'll show you how to cook some of these to eat. But I'm just gonna let them sit right there right now. I'll let them sit right there. Okay, I think they've dried enough. They have dried enough. Now I'll show you, I'll go ahead and fix a few right here. And then I'll go in there and cook them. This showing you how I fix these. It's the simplest way to do it. I take a set of these Felcos, pruners. Don't cut your finger off. And put that right there in the center and try to hold that as center as you can, and just cut them in two. And I lay the halves, the cut half, or the cut side down. And I'll just cut me, let's see, 1, 2, 3, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 5, 6, 7, and one more. I'll do 8. 8 chestnuts. That gives you 16 halves, won't it? Let's see. Ain't that right? That used to be, you know, if you took 8 and divided it by 2, it used to be 16. It could be something else completely different now. I don't know. But anyway, and what I'm going to do, I'll take these in the house and I'm going to pop them in the microwave for about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And I'll be right back. I've got that cooking in there. Let me get that container right quick. Okay. I'll go ahead and put these chestnuts. They're dry. They're dried off where we brought them up to 120 degrees. And what I try to do, sometimes I may skip a day But when these chestnuts are falling, when they're falling to the ground, I think it's a real good idea to gather those daily. I might gather them this evening and not heat treat them till I get several in here. I usually wait till I get this 3/4 to full before I do it, but I wanted to show you today how to do that, how I do it. All right. Now here is the chestnuts that has been in the microwave for 2 minutes. Now you can see here, if you've ever tried to shell chestnuts, you know what kind of mess you can get in trying to get them hulls off. Now watch this. I'm just gonna lay them hulls there. Take your finger and just pick them up. I always keep a little toothpick when I'm doing this. If one gets stuck, see, the heat will pop that chestnut shell right off of that chestnut. And that's just 2 minutes. And no problem. And then I'll show you something else. When you're doing this, you also got the opportunity to see if any's bad, like this one. I'll get as close as I can here, but you can see this one. You can see maybe them dark spots on that chestnut. Dark spots. That chestnut is gone. That chestnut's probably one that I didn't get picked up in time. This is what the heat treating prevents. If there's a little egg or anything in that chestnut, it's done. But now you can see that's obviously no good. So now that means that was half of one. It also means there's the other half, which it'll be easy to find. Just turn them over and you'll find it. You'll find the one that's the other half to that bad one right there. Let's see. Yeah, that's it right there, Blay. I'll just go through them and look. And if there's a bad one, you'll find it. Because it'll make a bad place. It'll show up. It'll show up big time. Now right there's the chestnut that's bad. You can see down at the end where it's dark and got a little, right along the edge here, and a little bitty dark spot right there. That's where that chestnut borer got into that chestnut. So toss them. Now you could eat it. If you're like some of these Americans that's into bugs and bug juice, you could go ahead and eat them. You would never give it a second thought, would you? Throw them out there. I like to take a little salt, sprinkle a little salt on them, and take my toothpick, and I'll pick that chestnut up and look. Perfect. They're cooked. You don't want to cook them too much. A saucer, 1.5 minutes would probably do it. I like to go 2 minutes. Now, when I use that sous vide heater cooker, the reason I use that is because that is precise. It's real precise. And what it does is it keeps those chestnuts at that constant temperature that it needs to be, which is 120. That's what I use. For 20 minutes. And it will kill any borer egg, larva, anything. I'm saying if it's in there, it's going to stop it. Now, after you do that, those chestnuts are still viable. You can plant them. But if you don't do that and treat them, if you've got chestnuts, there'll be chestnut borers eventually show up. So if you don't kill that, more than likely it will destroy the germ in the chestnut nut, and it won't be viable, it won't grow. Just keep that in mind. So the worst case scenario, or which would be the best case scenario, is you kill that borer before it destroys the nut. I'm saying if you wanted to grow chestnut trees, the first chestnut tree I planted down here, I waited for several years. Let me get a drink. I waited for several years for it to bear chestnuts. And lo and behold, it put a few chestnuts on it that first year that it bared. And I picked up 5 chestnuts. That's all I could find was 5 chestnuts. And that, it's like I say, that was the first year it bared chestnuts. I guess I was lucky because the borers hadn't arrived, because I didn't do nothing to them. And I looked at them 5 chestnuts, there's big, pretty chestnuts. And I thought, I can either eat them or I can plant them. And I took them right over here by that big chestnut tree that I killed. I killed it because it was a pollinator. It put burrs on it, lots of burrs, and a few chestnuts, but not enough chestnuts to deal with the burrs, so I got rid of it. So anyway, I planted those 5 chestnuts in a little circle around the little tree. And the next year, they jumped up. And I let them stay there for a year or so. Over a year, I left them growing to get established. And then one day I dug them up and I planted the 5 chestnut trees in a row right there on this side of the pawpaw trees. And I don't know what year it was, Lord have mercy, it's been a while. And those chestnuts are at peak, I won't say peak, but they're prime, one of them especially, but all of them's got chestnuts this year. Even the little bitty one over there. I need to get them, but that's what I'm saying. You can plant your own chestnut trees with a chestnut. Takes a while for them to grow. But if you ain't in no hurry, you can plant your chestnut and get you some chestnuts started. Main thing to remember when you're going to plant chestnuts, first thing that happens, it's going to send a taproot straight down, and they go deep. So you need a deep container. You don't want a little shallow one where that taproot goes down and starts winding around. It'll never amount to a hill of beans. You want that taproot going straight down. And then you dig that baby up or take it out of a deep pot. Don't have to be very big. A 4x4 by a foot deep would be perfect. And start your own trees. What I done just went out there and buried them in the mulch. I just stuck them down 2 or 3 inches in the mulch. And I was hoping they'd grow, and every one of them did. I've got the trees over there now. I think of that every time I eat a chestnut. What am I eating? I'm eating a chestnut tree. Those are good. Now I took some here. I took some a day or 2 ago, and I got to reading about people boiling chestnuts. And I thought, well, I like boiled peanuts. So So I took me some and boiled them. But now that leathery casing that's on those nuts, don't put one in the microwave without cutting a slit in the side of that. Because if you do, you're going to have a mess to clean up, because they'll blow up like a bomb. But anyway, I cut a split down the side of the chestnuts and throwed me about a couple dozen in a little old pot and boiled them. I think I boiled them for 10 or 15 minutes. And they, of course, in boiling water, they're a lot hotter than that sous vide at 120 degrees. So when you get them out, they're hot, man. They're hot, hot, hot. Them little boogers get hot. And so you got to start cutting them open, and then if it softens that nut up, and they don't release. When you boil them, that outer coating, that skin that's under that leathery shell, I figured that, and it does help them release, but nothing like this. You've seen that. You don't do nothing. You just lift them off. Well, by the time you cut through that chestnut, unless you got a razor blade, you'll kind of squish that nut. And anyway, I just showed you the simplest way to cook and consume chestnuts. Now you can do like I just done there, and you can chop them up in chunks and put them in cornbread or whatever. I used to make it and put it make a big pan of cornbread out of hickory king corn that I'd grind myself and put chestnuts in it, and man, they're good. I think Stephanie's gonna make some kind of cornbread tomorrow video or something, and she'll probably put some chestnuts in it. But anyway, that's the deal. Picking them up and how I treat them, and after I treat them, I let them cool down now. I let them cool a little, because they can still get warm. If you don't, they'll sweat. If you go ahead and put them hot ones in a bag, put them in the refrigerator, they're going to sweat and get wet, and if it gets wet, it could very easily create a mold problem. Make sure they're dry. If you put them in the refrigerator and you look at that bag and say, well, that bag's wet inside, dump them out on a towel and dry that bag out. Dry your chestnuts. Let them air dry hour or two again. Put them back in there. But that's it. That's the chestnut deal. I won't make no more this year about those chestnuts, I don't think. But that's how I do chestnuts. That'll be it today.